Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we're doing a retrospective review of Destroyer. 3,000 volts couldn't kill him, it just gave him a buzz.
Directed by Robert Kirk, starring Deborah Foreman, Clayton Rohner, Anthony Perkins, and Lyle Alzado as Ivan Mosier, the Destroyer.
Maybe he's like that guy in the Halloweens that keeps getting killed, so he doesn't know if he's dead or just dreaming.
This movie's about Ivan, an inmate who is on death row. He apparently killed like 22 or 23 people on a game show, and he's about to get electrocuted. Unfortunately, he lives through the electric chair. A riot breaks out, and he has lived in the prison for an undetermined amount of time.
So what you're telling me is that Mosier's still alive?
I'm telling you, Ivan Mosier is half alive.
He looks the exact same as he did when he died. It was probably like 6 months ago. But now there's a film crew shooting like an exploitation movie in a jail, as we do. Bunch of ladies in a women's prison, and crew members start to go missing because they're being killed by the Destroyer guy. Now we have David Harris and Susan Malone, the writer and the stunt woman, trying to figure out what's going on here. This is gonna be full of spoilers. It's a retrospective. It's from the 80s. If you haven't seen it by now, it is what it is. It's a slasher. You probably guess any twist that's gonna happen right out the gate anyway. But we're doing this because it is a Patreon recommendation from Katie, and this is a first time watch for us. If you want to support the channel, check out the links in the description. We also did a full commentary on this movie, which is available right now. So hit the links, and we're just gonna jump right into our likes. Isn't that what YouTubers say? They always say like, we're just gonna jump right into it after like 2 minutes of talking. Jump into it.
I loved Lyle Alzado as the Destroyer. He is a beefcake and a believable, unstoppable machine, but he's a human.
He does kind of dress like T-1000 at times. He's got like that jackhammer, and I think a lot of people probably have seen like that one big picture of him holding the jackhammer. And then also like the cover is pretty recognizable, and I'm shocked that I hadn't seen this before, to be honest, because it seems like it would be up my alley, especially if you watch the trailer, which is much more fast-paced than the movie is.
And makes it feel like Maniac Cop.
Twice the animal. Unstoppable. Unbelievable. Indestructible.
I like the cast in general. I think everybody did a bang-up job. You have a lot of like bickering between cast members of the movie in the movie.
When was the last time you guys got laid?
When was the last time you didn't?
And I think Malone is just the coolest. She just like doesn't give a shit what anybody says. She just cusses people off or like just has a smirk on her face.
I love the hair, Malone. And all you need is some tips.
She's just really enjoyable, despite how crazy her hair is. I think her hair is fucking dumb, but I like her nonetheless.
Though, even though this isn't the dislikes, I will say she didn't realize that the Destroyer was right in front of her in that room, and she's like, "Oh, officer, thank you for like coming here to save me." Like, it's very evident that he's the Destroyer.
Yeah, so like her and her boyfriend, David, they have been researching for this film. There's like articles about the riot or like the slayings and all of that stuff. You know what the guy looks like. You know that this big ass 6'4", 350-pound muscly man is not your average cop. It's Robert Z'Dar.
And if we are comparing this to Maniac Cop right now, I would gladly take the shower scene in this film over the one in Maniac Cop.
Yeah, Maniac Cop one, he gets slashed up. In this one, it's a bunch of naked girls just like wrestling, I guess. They're just like pushing each other. Nothing's really happening, just like titties everywhere. I just have to put a big black box on this one. YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, but worth the price of admission.
Animate!
To shelve the sexist stuff for a second, the Burning Man stuff was great. The warden comes in, he's like, "Hey, you guys are shooting in my jail." For some reason, he's still the warden 6 months after the events, or however long this prison has been shut down after the riot. He's still the warden. I don't know how that works. He's taking a shit and gets burnt to shit.
One of the other officers, the deputy, the sheriff, we don't establish his role, but he had the iconic jackhammer kill.
And this is where we reveal that Russell, the caretaker, who looks exactly and acts exactly like Richard Brake, he's his daddy. Even though he's like 3 years older than him.
Well, we don't learn that he's the dad at that moment, but we realize that they're tied in together.
Okay, they're working together.
It's when Fingers is telling us that Russell is the dad.
Russell. is his daddy.
I did appreciate the use of like a doll the whole time. Most of our commentary is based on this doll for some reason. We talk about sex dolls for too long.
Is it necrophilia when you do with a dummy or something else?
In your case, David, sex with a dummy would be called masturbation.
But Harris, or David, they never say David Harris in conjunction throughout the movie. Like Malone's always like, David! Harris!
Harris, where are you? Sees him.
David?
He's like trying to get stuff together. He gets this like doll and they practice electrocute it and it melts its face off.
Stop, she's dying!
And they use that like doll quite a bit. Probably like even up until like the last act, and is one of the ways that Malone escapes the clutches of Destroyer after being the Houdini that she is and snapping handcuffs. That was shocking to me.
She's maybe stronger than Ivan.
Well, I don't think she's stronger than Ivan. Ivan is a very beefy boy. It just like broke through that wall that time too.
And he like broke through the car, and holy shit, did we have the best moment ever. He clotheslined David on a motorcycle. That was great. Clothesline from hell right there.
There's some good stunts. There's some good action. He does destroy people.
Yeah.
Not a ton of on-screen kills, but the ones that we do see are excellent.
He throws at the time it was a priest, but later in retrospect, it was David. Threw him through the window.
So that's the problem. Malone's been having David's dreams.
They're not my nightmares, they're your nightmares.
You're having my nightmare?
Won't make fun!
And I will say, I enjoyed our setting. For an abandoned prison, they did a good job with that classic 80s lighting and like the fog and like the underground and how they're just kind of like walking through this creepy building. It was eerie.
Now, what didn't we like? Mainly that we didn't see all the cool kills that were explained to us. It's like, he killed 23 people on the set of a game show. Awesome. Give me a flashback.
You've been sentenced to die in the electric chair for the rape and murder of 23 men, women, and children. You have any last statement?
24.
Or amazing shower scene with a bunch of naked girls. Cut over here for no reason, then cut back. It's like, oh, they're all dead. But we don't see their bodies and we don't see the massacre happen. There's a lot of people that die. Like the kill count's probably 50, but we see about 4.
That brings me to our killer. As much as I like the look of him, definitely shouldn't have talked to him.
Like one of these motherfuckers to get a B.
The second he said a word, I was like, your character's ruined.
The only reason why I might disagree is because Malone straight up just says like, hey, why are you doing this? And he's like,
Why not?
what's scarier sometimes is not having a motive at all, because it's like, oh, so there's no way to convince this guy to stop killing. He's just going and doing his thing for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, but it was getting like weird when he's like chasing Malone down and being like, we can be together, we can make a movie.
Hey, you sit fucking here and I'm gonna eat your hair.
Yeah, let me like nibble you like a little rat.
If you've been living with rats for a while, you're gonna turn a little nutty.
He's been living with his dad luxuriously in this like abandoned prison.
Didn't he live in the sewer for a bit?
That was when he was like a prisoner.
Well, that would also fuck you up. You've just killed 23 people. You're probably already fucked up. And now he's living behind a wall in probably a small little room in a prison. It's probably cold. There's rats. Zero food.
He doesn't like food.
He likes hair.
Yeah, because like when we looked at his like last meal, he didn't even touch it. That was just a burger and ketchup.
Would you like to finish your last meal, son?
I'm going Philly cheesesteak 100% of the day.
I was looking at buffalo fingers or a burrito, but we talked more about that in the commentary.
We're plugging the shit out of Patreon. Why do you think we're back here on this other channel? The old channel, buy the merch. I'm going broke, ladies and gentlemen. That's not true. We just want to do only B movies and stuff on the other channel. B movies and 90s movies. It's a weird fucking focus. And then we'll do retrospectives and regular horror here. It's weird. I know, but that's what's happening.
This movie just doesn't seem like your style.
Style doesn't always pay the bills, so I'm forced to do crap.
Thankfully, we were doing the commentary, because if we weren't, we probably would have just been like, all right, move along, move along. When you're sitting there talking with headphones on, it's a little bit different because you're just talking over everything anyway. But if you were to just watch this, I think that you would think the first hour is very slow because you meet Ivan right out the gate and then he's not there for quite some time.
Yeah, they're too busy making a movie about his life. Though there are some entertaining moments with the actors themselves in it, it's not what you want to watch. When you go into watching a movie called Destroyer with a poster of a beefcake skull warrior holding a jackhammer with a laser pointer on it, what do you expect? Not the movie you get. You look at the trailer, like we said earlier, it's comparable to Maniac Cop, how they introduced it. And when you get to it, it's them making a movie in a prison, not like an ex-convict going on a murderous rampage.
Although an ex-convict does go on a murderous rampage.
Just not in the way you would expect. And because you don't get to see that murderous rampage, it's just very disappointing.
I would agree. I think it's still a reasonable watch. I wasn't bored necessarily. And I would say yeah, once you've watched The Burning, Maniac Cop, Mutilator, Blood Rage, all these classic 80s movies, it makes sense why only 9 years into our stint on YouTube we're watching Destroyer, right? Because it hasn't been recommended by anybody except Katie. And I don't know what that says about The Prowler, which is the next one. Nobody's really recommended that either, but that's coming up.
The Prowler. If he wants you, he'll get you.
I think it's time for our final thoughts and ratings because we talked about everything. This movie was okay. I thought the killer was fine. I thought all of the acting was pretty good, but I did wish we saw more on-screen kills. It's a pretty standard 80s slasher, but nothing really sets it apart, and I think that's probably why we haven't watched it before. So I'm gonna give this 2.5 dates with your doll out of 5.
Despite this film not being what I thought it was going to be, I actually had a good time. It gave us a fun killer who I wouldn't mind seeing another film with him in it, but I would prefer to see that film with all the kills. But if you've seen all those other 80s slashers and you haven't seen this one, I'd probably check it out just to check it off on your list. So with that being said, I'm going to give this film 2 baby doll stress balls out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film. If you've seen it, if you haven't and you do want to check it out, links are in the description. And if you want the opportunity to recommend a movie for us to review over on the Patreon, check it out. Links are also in the description. Check out the commentary and stay tuned for more retrospectives and horror reviews here on Bloodbath and beyond.